The old Victorian house loomed, a silhouette against the setting sun. Its windows, dark and vacant, seemed to watch me as I approached. A shiver ran down my spine, a prickle of anticipation mixed with unease. I had a feeling this house, with its peeling paint and overgrown ivy, held stories.
The air grew colder as she stepped onto the porch, the floorboards groaning under her weight. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through the grimy windows.
Sarah, her camera bag slung over her shoulder, pushed open the creaking door. The hinges groaned in protest, as if disturbed after years of silence. The adventure, she realized, had just begun. I lived for moments like this, the thrill of the unknown captured through my lens. I wasn't just a photographer. I was a collector of stories, each photograph a window into a fleeting moment in time. There was a certain beauty I found in things forgotten, in the echoes of lives lived.
The old house, with its air of melancholy and mystery, was a treasure trove waiting to be unearthed.
I wandered from room to room, my camera clicking softly, documenting the decay. A grand piano, its keys coated in dust, stood silent in the corner of the parlor. A faded tapestry hung on the wall, depicting a scene of a bygone era. The house was a time capsule, frozen in its own history.
The attic stairs creaked in protest as Sarah ascended, each step sending a tremor through the old house. The air grew heavy and close, thick with dust and the passage of time. Cobwebs spun by unseen spiders hung like macabre decorations from the rafters.
Trunks, piled haphazardly, lined the walls, their contents hidden from view. A rocking horse, its paint chipped and faded, stood frozen mid-gallop. I moved carefully through the maze of forgotten objects, my heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. It was then that I saw it. A small, wooden chest tucked under the eaves.
She knelt down, her fingers tracing the intricate carvings on the lid. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed lace and faded velvet, lay a photograph. The photograph was old, its edges frayed and faded. It depicted a young woman, her eyes staring directly at the camera lens. She was beautiful, with long flowing hair and a sad, haunted look in her eyes.
I felt a chill run down my spine, a sense of unease settling over me. As I stared at the photograph, a cold spot seemed to form around me, the air growing heavy and oppressive. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end.
Slowly, she turned, her heart pounding in her chest. Standing in the shadows, a faint outline shimmering in the dim light, was the woman from the photograph. Her eyes, however, were clear, filled with a profound sadness that sent shivers down Sarah's spine.
For a moment, our eyes met, and I felt a surge of both fear and sorrow.
Sarah fled the attic, her heart racing, the image of the ghostly woman seared into her mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that she had stumbled upon something dark and tragic, a secret that was not meant to be unearthed.
Back in my apartment, I couldn't escape the memory of the ghostly woman's sad eyes. The photograph lay on my desk, a constant reminder of my encounter in the attic. Sleep offered no escape, my dreams haunted by the woman's sorrowful gaze. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, the ghostly presence seeping into my waking hours. I tried to reason with myself, to dismiss the encounter as a trick of the light, a figment of my imagination. But deep down, I knew the truth.
She had seen something in that attic, something that defied explanation. Night after night, the ghost of the Victorian woman haunted Sarah's dreams, her sorrowful eyes pleading for something Sarah couldn't decipher. Driven by a need to understand, Sarah dove into historical archives, searching for any mention of the house or its former inhabitants.
Finally, in a dusty corner of the local library, I found it, a faded newspaper clipping, dated almost a century old. It told the tragic tale of a young woman, her name lost to time, who had lived and died in the Victorian Mansion. She had been a beauty, renowned for her grace and kindness, but her life had been cut short, ending in a mystery that remained unsolved.
According to the article, the young woman had been deeply in love, but her happiness had been shattered by a cruel twist of fate. Her lover had disappeared one stormy night, his ship lost at sea. The woman, heartbroken and desolate, never recovered from the loss. Sarah returned to the Victorian Mansion, armed with the knowledge of the woman's tragic past. As she stood in the parlor, she could almost hear the echoes of the woman's sorrow, the whisper of her despair.
I climbed the attic stairs, my hand brushing against the cold plaster walls. The attic was just as I had left it, the air thick with dust and memories.
The ghost, her form more solid now, less translucent, stood by the window. Her eyes, filled with a deep longing, locked onto Sarah's.
Help me!
She breathed, her voice a mournful whisper.
Help me find him.
Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, a mixture of fear and compassion washing over her.